how do these relate to BPS? As mentioned, one of the basic elements of a BPS is the choice of metric. So as you see here, those same elements that are part of Portfolio Manager show up as potential metrics for a building performance standard. Looking at Energy Star score, site EUI, source EUI, and greenhouse gas emissions intensity. Now, all of these have various pros and cons in terms of being used as a metric for a building performance standard. The elements here that we're looking at, so first of all, are these items compatible with a long-term standard? The Energy Star score gets reevaluated every time a new commercial building energy survey is performed. So that is not useful for a long-term standard as it's not predictable, while the other elements are able to be, can be consistent over time. Next is the metric fully within the control of the owner. In this case, site EUI is the only one that owners and operators have direct influence over. However, some of the other issues come into whether you can take into account outside conditions such as weather. So with the exception of greenhouse gas emission intensity, all of the other metrics are able to be normalized for weather through Energy Star Portfolio Manager. However, the only one that is able to be normalized for business characteristics, like the amount of people and the schedules, is Energy Star score, which is not available for all buildings. Not every building is Energy Star eligible. And finally, one other element, generation and distribution losses, are able to be evaluated for all metrics except for site EUI, though the site to source multiplier for Energy Star score and the source EUI from Portfolio Manager are calculated as a national average, so they don't reflect local conditions. This map here shows existing building performance standards throughout the US. It is actually not even up to date right now, as Boston was just added last week. The additional dots here that you will see are those that are strongly considering and have in process the possibility of adopting a building performance standard. While few cities have BPS now, that number is expected to dramatically increase in the next few years, ramping up much more aggressively than the benchmarking. So those cities that are existing, again, with the exception of Boston, are shown here with the different metrics and different elements of those. Notice that the earliest adopted BPS in the US was in 2019, and the first compliance deadline is not till 2024 in New York City, which means we don't have any actual data on the implementation and the enforcement or any other elements of BPS in a city.